In this video, I'm going to tell you about some lessons I learned from my son, Logan. My wife and I had two girls, Amanda and Natalie, and our third child is Logan. And he was a healthy baby, 10 pounds, 10 ounces, and started growing and maturing. When he turned 1 year old, he couldn't talk yet. Both of our girls could talk around their first birthday. Logan couldn't, no big deal. Boys are slower than girls usually, to be honest. And so no big deal. When he was 2, still couldn't talk at age 2. That's okay. It's not the end of the world. And he did start doing a lot of like repetitive things. Like he would want to get on the couch and jump off and climb up and jump off and climb up and jump off over and over and over again. We'd take him to the pool in our neighborhood and he would get right on the edge and he'd put this weird little bathing suit on and he would fall face first into the pool, right on his face, and he would come out laughing and laughing and laughing, and we let him do it over and over and over again, because when he was 2, 2.5, 3, he really didn't laugh much besides doing that. He got, by the time he was 3 years old, still not talking, more and more repetitive things. He wanted, whenever the microwave would buzz, he'd come running wherever he was and wanted you to pick him up and let him open the microwave. I don't know why, but he wanted to open the microwave. And if you didn't let him do it, he'd scream for an hour. And if the doorbell rang, he'd go running and he wanted you to let him open the door. And when we came home, he'd want to open the door and go inside first, open the door for everybody else, let them in, close the door. And if you didn't let him do that, he'd scream for 2 hours. And he would just scream and cry all the time when he was 3, 3.5 years old. We're like, is this like the terrible threes, I guess? We never dealt with this with the girls, but I've heard of that. And he just got increasingly fussy, increasingly upset about things. By the time he was 3.5, getting close to 4, he still couldn't talk, hadn't said a word. But his repetitiveness got worse. He started covering his ears and screaming when he was upset. Here's your tray. Then he started punching himself and slapping himself. And he would just get upset and just start slapping himself over and over. And that's when we knew that this wasn't the terrible threes. Something was wrong with our boy. Well, we didn't know what to do. What do you do? One of our neighbors said, you know, the school district has an evaluation program for special needs kids. And I was like, whoa, special needs? Who said anything about that? Right? I was in denial of that for, maybe a day. And then I was like, we need some help. We don't know what to do. So we called the school, we made an appointment, and we brought Logan in. And I'll tell you, one of the lessons I've learned is just admitting that there's a problem and you need help is a big step in a healthy direction. And we needed help. So we brought Logan in and he was evaluated by a panel of experts. And then we had the meeting. And if you've ever been to the meeting, you know what I'm talking about. We go into this boardroom at the elementary school, and they have all the experts sitting around the table. It's the speech pathologist and the audiologist and the occupational therapist and the early childhood development specialist and a child psychologist and the assistant principal. And you probably can see where this story is going, that they told us that Logan was on the autism spectrum. Well, I didn't know much about autism. I really didn't. I thought maybe they were going to say that because the covering your ears thing. But there's a difference between thinking maybe there's a problem and diagnosis, right? This is an educational assessment of autism. And they were unanimous, all in agreement that Logan was autistic. Well, what do? We don't know what to do. They said, well, the good news is we have a plan to help Logan. I said, okay, that's great. What is it? They said, well, you may not know, but we have a special needs preschool program here in the district. And the way it works is we have 12 preschool kids, 6 of them special needs, 6 not. 2 or 3 special ed teachers working with these kids, and we've seen tremendous breakthroughs in these classrooms. And we can get Logan into one of these classes starting tomorrow because early intervention is really important. We'll get him in there right away. And I said, I didn't even know there was such a thing. That's amazing. And then they started going around the room, and each one of them had a written piece of the plan for Logan's development. You know, the occupational therapist said, I'm going to teach Logan how to hold scissors and how to hold a pen. I'm going to teach him how to make X's and O's. That's the foundation of all symbols. If you can make X's and O's, you can learn how to write. I said, that's amazing. The speech pathologist said, I'm going to teach Logan how to talk. I said, you know, he's never said a word, ever. And she said, well, give us a couple months. He's going to talk. And I said, how are you going to do that? She said, we're going to use pictures. And we're going to teach him how to talk to pictures before he talks to people. We have experience doing this with other kids. And I was like, that's amazing. And they're going around the room. And you talk about an emotional roller coaster, right? It went from like, oh my God, my boy has autism to, okay, this is exciting. There's experts and they know what they're doing and they have a plan and they're willing to help us and our family. I started getting so excited. Then the assistant principal said, and we even have a special bus that can pick up Logan at your house. And I just started bawling. I was like, oh, the special bus, really? You know, we all have dreams and hopes for our children, and they do not include the special bus. At our next meeting, I said, hey, if you're interested, how about a little input from a professional communicator? Can't we come up with a better name for the special bus? Can't we call that the customized transportation program or the big yellow limo or something? So anyway, my wife and I came home from that first meeting, and we were rocked by the whole thing. We really were. I know there's people watching this video that have been through much more difficult things, right? You've lost children. You know, you've had, serious debilitating illnesses and injuries. And I get it, right? It's not a contest. I know you've had some hard times, but for us, this was like the first big mountain that we ever had in our life. Like, what are we going to do? And I remember the next day I was playing racquetball with my friends, and it just dawned on me, I don't know if my boy's ever going to play sports. And I just started bawling in the middle of this racquetball game. My friends were like, you okay? And they were there for me, and some good friends, and prayed for me and my family. And it's another lesson I learned from this whole experience, that surrounding yourself with strong people is important, because there's going to come times when you're feeling weak and you need those strong people in your life. So anyway, my wife and I, we had a decision to make, right? How are we going to handle all this, mentally, spiritually, psychologically? And we said, you know what? We've been going around telling people, I do speaking and training. I've been telling people for 30 years, hey, your attitude's a choice, right? Choose a good attitude. Just be positive. I've said that to a million people. And now I found myself in this situation where I had to make a choice too. And we just decided to be positive. We said, you know what? What are they really telling us? That Logan is special? We knew Logan was special. You know what? What if there's an opportunity here? An opportunity for our family to do something amazing. And we got the girls involved, and we just decided, hey, you know what? We're going to work together to help this boy have a wonderful life. Did some research about families with autism, and there's some statistics out there. I don't know if they're totally accurate or not, but speculation that families with autistic children have a 90% divorce rate. And we said, oh no, not in this family. How about if we just all love each other a little bit more, right? And so we just chose to believe that Logan was going to get better, that he was going to be okay, that things were going to turn out all right. Well, a few days later, his teacher came over for like a home visit to check out our house, which we're okay with that. And we just told her, hey, you don't know us, but just want to tell you where we're coming from, right? We were really rocked by Logan's diagnosis, but we have just decided to choose to be positive. We just believe he's going to be okay. We're going to be the most supportive parents you've ever seen. We're open to any advice you have. We'll change anything in our lifestyle we have to, but we're not freaking out. We believe it's going to be okay. And what she said was fascinating. She said, you know what? I've been doing this for 20 years. And we have some kids in our program that have a very good chance of growing up to be happy, healthy, well-adjusted citizens in their community. And then we have some kids that don't have much hope. She said, Logan's in the first category. I said, oh my God, that's amazing. Why would you say that? And she said, because you guys have a good attitude about it. I said, I appreciate that. But for real, why would my kid have an advantage over some other kids? She goes, that's it. I'm just telling you, when the parents believe that the kids can be better, those kids get better. Some more than others and in different ways. But when the parents don't have hope, well, then there just isn't much hope. And she left our house that day, and I sat in a chair for hours, and I said, could it really be, with all the advances in science and medicine and technology, that it comes down to your attitude? It's amazing. I got to tell you, Logan is doing great. Here's a picture of him on his first day of school riding on the special bus. And you know what? He was pretty excited to go. Right away, the first day, they started trying to teach him how to talk. They took pictures, took a picture of Logan, took a picture of his backpack, picture of his cubby, picture of his chair. Logan, backpack, cubby, chair. Went and put his backpack in the cubby, sat in the chair. I was like, whoa. You know, it was only a few weeks before Logan said his first words. And they were Logan, backpack, cubby, chair. And he would just talk to these pictures all the time. If he wanted an apple, he wouldn't say apple. He would point at a picture. Apple, banana, milk. And the teachers, we'd communicate back and forth in a little notebook with the teachers. And they'd say, hey, send in this or help him with this at home. And one day they said, hey, could you send a picture of your family in to school with Logan's backpack? Okay, so we sent a picture in there. And I'll never forget him coming home. He pulls that picture out of his backpack. It's our family. You know, and he had never called me dad. He had never called my wife mom. But he looked at that picture and he said, Mom, Dad, Amanda, Natalie. And we were all bawling. We play a game called the Spot Game, where he'd say, Dad, wait right here. And he would start creeping. He would run up the stairs, and I would chase him. Oh, no, you don't. He'd say, oh, yes, I do. And he'd run upstairs. He'd jump into my side of my bed, and he'd put his hands at his sides. He'd make a little smirk, and he'd go, I got your spot. And one day I took a picture of him. And he thought it was so hilarious that we started doing it every day, and I would take a picture of him every day. Always the same smirk on his face. Oh, you like these? I got a lot of these pictures. And we did this for months and months and months. And then a very special day happened. Here's a picture of Logan and Natalie on his first day of third grade. He looks excited, doesn't he? He's getting ready to do something he's never done before. Here's a picture of Logan and Natalie holding hands, waiting in line to ride the big bus with all the other kids. And my wife and I are out there, we're taking pictures, we're bawling. The neighbors must have thought we were crazy. We're like, our boy can ride the bus. You know, the judgmental neighbors were like, you need to set higher goals for your children. You shut up, you don't know our family. And he rode the bus. He's been in a regular classroom. He's had extraordinary breakthroughs. 3 days ago, he just started the 10th grade. And he's a great student. He's got amazing friends. He's got an amazing life. He's had some breakthroughs between now and then that I'll tell you about in another video. But it's extraordinary. But the lesson that I hope everybody gets out of this story is that, you know, you're going to hit some adversity in your life too. And what's your attitude going to be about it? You're going to have some people in your life that need someone who believes in them. Maybe their parents don't. Maybe no one ever has. Maybe you're the first person in their whole life who's in a position to believe that they can be better. And people have an amazing way of living up to or living down to expectations that people have of them. And so as you roll into the rest of this week, the rest of this month, the rest of this year, choose to be positive, right? Believe that things are going to be better. I'm so thankful for all the breakthroughs and development for all my kids. And I'm really, really thankful that when we hit that adversity, that we chose faith over fear. We chose to believe that things could be better. Man, they've sure gotten better.